You are listening to the Fancy Free podcast where my guests and I tell our most embarrassing, funny stories so that we all feel less alone in our imperfections and forge connection through vulnerability and humor. I'm Joanne Jarrett, and I'm your host. And today I have a gem of a guest. You guys are going to love her. Her name is Sam Staskal. And the way I found Sam is that somehow I saw her completely hilarious viral video about something that happened to her when she was showing a house as a real estate agent. And I commented, like, please help me figure out who this is, you guys. And then it seemed like months later, she answered and said, it was me, message me. And I was like, oh yeah, yay. So I was super excited. Sam is a realtor in Southwest Wisconsin. She lives in a small town with her boyfriend, 4 kids, and 2 dogs. She left her nearly 20-year career as a graphic designer to pursue real estate full-time. And she has no regrets. She loves her job, and she especially loves connecting with new people. Sam, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, fill in the blanks. What did I miss about who you are and what you do?
Well, first of all, let me say I want to just go back and comment on how long it took me to get back to you, and I apologize for that.
Well, sometimes those videos go up and the person who made the video doesn't even know that someone else posted it. So I was like, there's no way, there's no way this is getting back to her.
Well, I remember somebody telling me that UK Daily Mail had posted it. And I remember looking at it at that time, but I didn't save it to be able to go back to it. So the other night, I was just laying in bed and I just decided I'm going to search to see how many views that video has. And it has like 10.6 million just on that site. Mm-hmm. So I was like going through as many comments as I could. And I found yours. And I thought, oh my gosh, I feel so bad I didn't get back to her. So I thought, well, I'll just reach out and see if she's still interested. So,
oh my gosh, I feel so lucky. I'm like a needle in a haystack and you found me.
Yes.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry it took me so long to respond, but hey, I got there.
No, it's fine. I was kind of surprised that no one's going to help a girl out and at least say, well, I think it might be this woman. When I saw that there was a response, I had totally forgotten about it because it literally, it was way before Christmas.
Oh yeah, it was back in August. I'm a little slow.
Oh, I don't care. I'm like, yay, better late than never. I'll take you whenever I can get you. This is great.
Okay, so to fill in the blanks, I was born and raised in Iowa. And then I moved to Wisconsin. So I'm kind of near the border of Iowa, still very connected to Iowa. And, people ask me, what made me leave after 20 years of graphic design? Why would you leave?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get stuck in this, like, I call it cube hell or cube world. It's kind of like being confined to a jail.
Yes.
And it became very toxic for me. And I became a very negative person. And, I've apologized to coworkers, on lives before that. I'm so sorry I was so negative. But I allowed that to consume me. I didn't mind the work. I didn't like the atmosphere. And I didn't like being confined. So when the opportunity to pursue real estate full-time popped up, I can't be more excited about my job now. I absolutely love my job. I would never go back to corporate. I have so much freedom. I enjoy every day. There's not a day that I think, God, I wish I wasn't in real estate. I wish I was back in corporate. I don't have that.
And like every day is different for you, right?
Yeah.
The only thing to me that real estate would be hard is the hours. Like there's some nights and weekends going on, right?
There is. But at the same time, I have 4 kids at home. And my youngest is 5. So like if I have to go to a showing, I could schedule, I only do one showing a night for an hour, that my older kids can watch my younger kid while I step out.
Oh, perfect.
You decide how much you want to make in this business.
Yeah.
How much money is enough for you and how many hours do you want to work for that money? It's been beneficial, especially with COVID now, because my kids have been home for so long that I was able to be home as well and not be stuck in an office.
Yes.
And I can come and go as I want.
Oh, it's so amazing. I love it.
I just like to meet new people and hear their different stories and get their backgrounds. And it just fascinates me.
Yeah. I can totally see that. That would be so much fun. Okay. So your youngest is 5. How old are your other kids?
I have a 16-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, a 12-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old son.
Wow. Okay. Let's get to know you a little better with the rapid fire questions. Do you have a song lyric that you got wrong?
To be honest, I have trouble hearing. So I am a lip reader. Oh. So when I listen to a lot of songs, I get them wrong a lot. But one of the ones that I can't stand when it comes on the radio is Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. And the reason why I can't stand it is because I have yet to hear the word thank you in that song. I hear break your leg. But I'm not alone in this because my boyfriend and I came on the radio one day and he's like, Sam, what is she saying? And I said, well, I know the song is called Thank You Next, but I think she's saying break your legs. And he's like, oh, I thought she was saying bacon and eggs. So I'm like, oh, good. It's not just me. I know the words to the song. I do not hear thank you at all.
That is so funny.
So now you'll have to go listen to it and then you'll have to tell me what you hear now.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. Break your legs and bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
I love it.
They're close.
Yeah, they are. They rhyme. Okay, have you ever met a celebrity?
Yes, I had a meet and greet with Phil Vassar, who a lot of people don't know who Phil is. He's an amazing songwriter, and he didn't always sing his own music. Other famous singers sang them, but then he started singing them himself. I used to work for Land's End Clothing Company, their corporate office, and they would do this thing, Ellie Jam, they called it, and in the summers, they would bring in stars, celebrities to sing.
How neat.
They brought in a number of them. And then they would always do like some type of contest for employees to be able to win the meet and greet. So I happened to win. So I got to meet him. You could take your family with you to the concert. So I took my dad with me because he likes that kind of music and stuff. So I took him with, and I was allowed to take one person with me to the meet and greet. So I took my dad. My dad doesn't have any pictures of me displayed in his bedroom, right? He's got an 8x10 picture of him and Phil Vassar on his dresser.
You're like, excuse me, I was there too.
I know. I'm like, don't forget which daughter it took you. To watch my dad go through that was just, it was over the top for me because he even said that was one of the greatest moments of his life.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Right. So it meant that much to him. And I remember when he was trying to put his arm around Phil for a picture, and he's like, he was just so tall. I had to like reach my arm up, and it's just so cute how excited and, how much he talked afterwards.
Oh, how fun. What an awesome bonding experience with your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a recurring dream, and what is it?
I've had the same dream since I was a kid. And I don't know what it means. Like I've tried to look into try to figure out what it means. Yeah. But what it is in my hometown, Maquoketa, I grew up on Prospect Street, and I would walk from the middle school home, which was about 5-6 blocks. But this dream, I would walk home from middle school, and when I go to get to my street's not there, and I can't find my street.
Oh my gosh.
Well, then, I'm like roaming up and down. I can't find the house. I can't find the street. And it's just a panic, and that's one of those dreams that you can't scream because you have no voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just terrifying because I can't get home. Still, as an adult, I have this dream that I'm walking from the middle school to that house, and I can't get there.
Huh. Okay, listeners, if anyone has an interpretation for Sam's dream, go to fancyfreepodcast.com, click the big red button, and record your interpretation, and we'll put it on the show.
I think it might just mean that I'm lost. But I don't know. I don't know.
That is terrifying.
My parents don't live in that house anymore, so I guess I don't have to worry about finding it.
Yeah, you really can't go home to that house, even if you could find it. Oh my God. Oh, geez. Well, as you know, the point of this podcast is to show the listeners not only that they aren't alone, but also that if they start sharing these funny stories in their lives, that they can forge a connection through sharing their humor and vulnerability with another person and encourage them to do that. So what do you have for us today? What are some of your not so fancy moments?
Well, my biggest recent not so fancy moment would be me falling in front of a male client last summer with my dress over my head and my fat rolls like flopping in the wind as I'm rolling on the ground.
Oh, no.
And my mom always told me growing up, make sure you have clean underwear on in case you're in a car accident, So I've always made sure I had clean underwear on, but I never thought they needed to be pretty. I never thought that they shouldn't be granny panties and that they should be pretty because I might show them to somebody.
Okay, guys, before Sam and I continue talking, we're just going to give you a little treat. We're going to play the audio from her viral Facebook Live video.
So I'll make this quick. Just a quick story time. So I'm Sam Staskal, and I'm a realtor in Southwest Wisconsin. And I was just showing a house to a client, male, and his fiance couldn't join us, unfortunately. Thank God she wasn't there. So we're walking around the outside of this house, right? And I'm wearing a dress and some sandals. And I'm clumsy, but I'm a big girl. I'll admit it. We're walking around the outside, and I had my clipboard and my phone and my keys. And I walked around pointing at stuff at the house, showing them it, talking of it. Everything's going fine. And out of freaking nowhere, I'm on the ground with my dress above my head. Oh, God. I don't even know what the hell happened. Thank God he was walking in front of me. All he said was he heard a shriek. And when he turned around, I was sprawled out on the ground. He thought I was pranking him. Like, what kind of realtor pulls her dress over her head and throws herself on the ground? So anyway, I quick pulled my dress back down, and the guy, he's like, "Are you okay? Is your ankle hurt or anything?" I'm like, "No, I think I'm good. I think I just hurt my pride." In the meantime, I'm like, how do I get up? I know he just saw all my lady parts because my dress was over my head. And the neighbor out back, he had to have seen too because he was working in his garden. Some type of professional real estate agent I am. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. My shoes weren't even close to my body. I thought, okay, I must have stepped into a hole. And when I looked around for a freaking hole. There was no hole. I broke my pop socket off the back of my phone. My clipboard that had all my showing papers on it was just flung to the side. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm so embarrassed. My leg is grass stained. I'm pretty sure my underwear is grass stained. He says he didn't see a thing. I think he's lying. I can say I've been through it all now. I've done it all. This winter I fell down the steps and I scooped up my client on my lap on the way down, and she rode me like a sled. Oh, at least I have a sense of humor. And he better have a sense of humor too, since he just saw me naked. How do you look a guy in the face after that? Anyway, I'm okay. My pride's okay. I'll just get back up and pull up my big girl panties. Literally. End of story.
How exactly did this happen?
That's the weirdest thing is, okay, so everybody's like, what kind of dress would go over your head? This is totally unrealistic. I had on a t-shirt dress, only it was like a tank sleeve, and it's more fitted around the chest area, and then it's very wide at the bottom.
It's a fit and flare.
Yeah, we had just gotten to the property. So we were just walking along the outside of the house because we decided we'd check out the outside first and then go inside. So, we weren't even there 5 minutes. And this guy was very professional, serious guy, man of few words. He didn't say much. You could tell he was always in deep thought, but didn't say much. So he's walking in front of me, and I'm pointing out the shed in the backyard, hey, what do you think of this? I know your fiance was really interested in this. And boom, that's I was down and laying on the ground. He was walking ahead of me, and I was talking to him as we were walking. So he was not turned towards me at the moment I remember. So I somehow just fell, and I landed face up with my head towards him. So I had actually fallen forward, somehow spun, landed face up facing him. All of my crap was just thrown. But my shoes were placed off to the side of my body, and they were together perfectly.
Your shoes?
Yeah, I took them off to go into a house. It was strange. And I thought, well,
that's a strange detail.
Yeah, I know. And I thought, well, there must have been a hole. I must have stepped in a hole. I do fall on air. I fall on everything. But I thought there must have been a hole. I really went down. I didn't even have time to brace or stop myself. So, he turns around, and just as I'm getting up and I'm realizing, I kind of laid there for a minute because I didn't know if I was hurt or not, and then I decided I'm not hurt. I pulled my dress back down and I was like rolling over to get on all fours to stand back up. And he's like, oh my God, are you okay? Is your ankle okay? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm fine. I just hurt my pride. And I said, did you see that? And he's like, no, I didn't see anything. I just heard a shriek. And when I turned around, you were on the ground. He's like, what happened? Are you okay? And he says, I thought you were pranking me. And I'm like, I'm not pranking. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking, what kind of person would prank somebody that they don't even know?
What kind of a real estate professional would fall down on the ground?
Right. I mean, I have a hard enough time getting up off the floor when I sit on the floor. I mean, why would I throw myself down there? And he just had this like really like dumbfounded look on his face of what was going on. I picked up all my crap and I put my shoes on and we just carried on with the showing. And we got in the house and I was still like brushing grass off my legs and out of my hair. We're walking through the house talking and everything's fine. So then we got into our cars, and where I live, it's small towns, but there's some within driving distance of each other. So I showed him a house in one town. I got back into my car and I told him I'd meet him at the next house, which was about 10 miles away. By the time I got in my car, I couldn't even breathe because I was like laughing so hard. So I called my mom. And she laughs just like me. I mean, she's not breathing. She's like, oh my God, and my daughter happened to be at her house and she's in the background. Oh my God, is mom okay? What's going on? What's the matter? So I got to the next town, I pulled myself together and it was a for sale by owner. So I had to go introduce myself to the seller and the seller walked me through the house. And when I got up there, I remember saying, I'm so sorry. I just fell down. I have no idea what I look like. And he's like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. The guy's going to be here in a minute. So do you want to walk me through here quick? So we did. And everything was fine. And the buyer, again, when he got there, he asked me again, are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm great. And so then it was after I left that house and we parted ways that I pulled over alongside the road and I made my Facebook Live video that has gone viral. So I'm not done with this guy, but he doesn't say much. And, I struggle with people that don't talk much because I'm a talker and I'm a joker. I like to banter back and forth and that's how I get to know you. And, we have fun. He wasn't that type of guy, so he didn't say much. So I felt awkward anyway, like I'm not winning this client. So, we left, I made the video and then he called me to ask if I could show him another property. His fiance wasn't at any of these. Okay. I had met her once previously. I showed her house. She's lovely. She's great. But she was in another state, not able to come to these showings. So I showed him that one on Saturday. He didn't mention that he saw the video. So I'm like, okay, we're good. And I didn't mention it, because I had 250 followers on Facebook. They were all my friends and family and coworkers and stuff, nothing big. Nobody saw it. Right. Well, I got a call. He wanted to go see this other for sale by owner that his fiance was really interested in. And again, this was like Sunday night and we were going to go see it on Tuesday. And he still didn't say anything about the video and he didn't even mention the incident. So I'm like, okay, he must not have Facebook, because it was viral by that point. So I show up at the for sale by owner, again, early. So she could walk me through and she opens the door and she's like, oh my God, you're that woman. And I'm like, yeah, she says, I love you. Your video was so funny. And I'm just like, okay, it's awkward, I'm like, she's all praising me and, just gushing over me. And I said, well, you're really going to love this then, because that guy is coming here to see your house. And she's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah.
So then she's like, I'm just going to hide in the bushes. Don't mind me.
And I said, and I don't think he's seen the video, so I don't want to talk about it, with him here, because I was going to show him the house and then she was going to come back in and answer questions.
Be cool, act natural.
Right. It's just our little secret and 10 million other people. So he shows up with his fiance and I felt really awkward because I thought maybe they knew because the video was viral, so I was kind of awkward at first. They didn't mention it. We went through the house, and everything was fine. We left and the seller, I guess that little stinker, she messaged the fiance a link to the video.
Oh, no
so
way.
The fiance watched the video that night and the guy didn't pay much attention. She asked him about it, but he really didn't pay any attention to what she was talking about. Right. Well, then he had put in an offer on that house. So we were working out the details of that. And a couple days later, he texted me just business related. And I responded. And then he responded by text. He's like, oh, and by the way, I was getting my coffee this morning and 2 coworkers were watching your video talking about our showing. And I about spit my coffee out. And I was just like, oh, so you saw it? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you mad? And he's like, no. He says, it's so funny. Everything happened exactly as you said it. And he says, you're right. The craziest thing was your shoes. Because again, they were put like I had taken them off. It's not like you tripped and they flung. It was like I stepped right out of them. And I said, oh, so did you see? And he's like, yeah, I kind of saw everything. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, but don't worry. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my fiance. He said about 3 days later, I couldn't take it anymore. And I called and told my sister.
So he was still thinking about it.
Yeah. He's so shocked by what he saw. He's just like blinded.
I can never unsee that.
3 days later, he calls his sister and says, you're never going to believe what happened to me. I said, I haven't told anybody who you are, and I won't.
Yeah.
I said it'll be our secret unless you out yourself.
I'm glad you got a sale out of it. I mean, that just goes to show your real estate chops.
Right.
Despite flinging yourself on the ground, you still got the sale. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I didn't get a proposal, but I got the sale.
Well, in all fairness, he was already engaged.
Right. She shouldn't feel threatened by me.
There you go. Now she knows. Like, even if you practically take your dress off in front of her fiance, he's good to go. He's faithful.
So then after I talked to him, I text her and I'm like, so I just talked to, so-and-so, and we talked about our showing, and she started laughing. And I said, I hope you guys aren't upset that I, made this video. And she said, oh no, the first thing I asked is, did you help her up? And he says, no, I didn't help her up. I didn't know what to do. And she goes, well, did you at least help her pick her shit up? And he's like, no, I was just shocked. She's like, oh, what a jerk, And I'm like, well, in his defense, he had the complete shocked look on his face when I rolled over and looked at him.
Like deer in the headlight, and I moved fast.
He was. It was exactly like a deer in the headlights, all big-eyed, like, what the hell just happened,
Is this real, or am I in some kind of parallel universe right now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Oh, I love it. I'm so proud of you because that is embarrassing. And
embarrassing doesn't even cut it.
You started laughing about it really fast. Like, I think you're a highly evolved adult. The fact that you got in your car and started wailing with laughter to your mother right away and then felt like you needed to share your glee with the world makes me love you.
Just remember when I made that, I didn't think I was sharing it with the world. I thought I was just sharing it with my friends.
Well, yes. There is that.
Some of my friends have a big mouth.
Oh, I guess so. I guess you made it shareable. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Okay, tell me the stairway story.
Oh, yes. This story got so much more attention than the first story. And I kind of said it like in passing, trying to wrap up my video, right? The past winter in real estate, I was showing this young woman houses in town here, and it was wintertime. So she was all bundled up. She had like snow pants on, a parka, a hat, and I had on my coat, my snow boots, and we went to this house, and so our boots were wet, but it wasn't like the type of house that you wanted to take your shoes off in. Mm-hmm. So I gave her those booties that slip over your shoes, and I slipped them over my wet boots. We walked through all the house. It was fine. And then we got to the basement stairs. I hate basements. I've always hated basements. So I always make it a point to send my client down the steps first. I do it. I still do it. I do it to everybody because basements freak me out.
You're like, listen, I'm telling you what, I'm throwing you out there. That's just how it's going to be.
You want to see it? You're going first. I'll come right behind you. I promise. Well, I literally came right behind her this time because I slipped on the very top step and I slid down on my butt and I picked her up towards the bottom where she literally just like sat backwards on my lap like a sled. And she rode me all the way to the bottom and we skidded to a stop in the cement on the bottom with her on my lap. You know, she gets up, I get up, she asks me if I'm okay. And I'm like so worried I hurt her. So I'm like, are you sure that you're fine? She goes, oh yeah, I'm great. And my hand was bleeding. I had ripped up my fingers.
Gosh.
You know, I was a mess. So I'm like, I had a Kleenex in my pocket. So I just stuck my bloody hand in my pocket for the rest of the showing so it could bleed on the Kleenexes in there.
Oh my God.
And then we just never spoke of it again. I had to file an incident report with my company saying that I fell at a showing just so it's recorded.
The fact that you guys were in snow clothes just completes the mental image so beautifully.
Yeah. And I think on the video that you had commented on the live at the UK Daily Mail, I think they cut that part out.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of people had commented that the best part of this story is missing. And so I think that part was cut out because that's like people's favorite part. I have merchandise that I sell and it has an image that an illustrator had sent me after she watched my video. She sent me 2 illustrations, one of me falling and throwing my shit all over the yard with my dress over my head. And then she sent me one of me scooping up the client, us going down the steps like she's sledding on me. You know, I'm like, oh my God, you nailed it. You have nailed it. This is exactly what I pictured when this all happened. And I found that my video has touched so many people and that some people have reached out telling me very personal, heartfelt stories that, you know, have really stuck with me. There was one that lost her mother and the first time she laughed was when she saw that video.
Oh, yeah.
I think people really needed it. And that's why it went so viral is with COVID and everything that's happened in this last year.
Yeah.
People really needed that good belly laugh.
Yes. It's always good to share your embarrassing, funny stories because it's a gift to other people in so many ways. You never know when somebody just needs that lifeline to grab onto. Right. You never know when somebody needs a laugh. You never know when somebody's seeing you through these perfection goggles that aren't real. They think that you're just this ideal of perfection that they could never attain. And then all of a sudden you break that all down with a story like this. And it helps them and it helps, you know, you bond to them. And you're right. Now more than ever, we should really be intentional about telling these stories because people need a laugh.
Yeah.
And we aren't laughing at anyone. We're laughing at ourselves together. It's like medicine for the soul.
Yeah. I still can't watch the video because if I watch the video, it takes me right back and I'm chuckling. You know, I just, it's still that good to me. You know, I just picture it and I just kind of shake my head in embarrassment because it's like what that guy must have saw. I mean, what it looked like from his angle, because, you know, I literally could feel my fat roll. Like my underwear was tucked underneath my fat roll and my fat roll was flopping, you know?
Oh, I totally relate.
One thing that's funny, and you'll have to go back and watch this video because then you'll definitely see it, is one of the viewers like commented, what makes this even better is you only have makeup on one eye.
Oh, he commented about your actual appearance on the video.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I put makeup on both eyes. I know I did. Here, when I talked to my mom and had cried, laughed all the way to that next showing, I must have rubbed it off.
Yeah.
The one eye. So can you imagine me going to this for sale by owner and trying to be a professional and I come in and I only have eye makeup on one eye? I mean, who the hell does that? How are they supposed to take me serious? When that viewer pointed that out, I could have just died because it's like as if I wasn't having a bad enough day and now you're telling me I only have makeup on one eye.
I can't wait to go back and look at it. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
So I was a hot mess. Later this fall, I was at my parents' house and I had stepped out into the lawn and I went to step back up on their porch, which is just a small step. Well, my foot, of course, caught on the cement. And I go flying forward just as my mom yells, "Not again!" I saved myself that time. I was able to stumble and recover.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
She's commenting on it as you're flying through the air. I love it.
Yeah. Not again.
The fact that you caught yourself flying through the air up your parents' porch, I mean, you have to be somewhat impressed by your cat-like speed and reflexes.
I don't know that I'd say I'm impressed by it.
Relieved, maybe? Could be worse.
Yeah, like I said, when I fell, I mastered the tuck and roll because I landed face up. Does that count for anything? I
Yeah,
think that
at least
counts
you
for
didn't have
something.
grass in your teeth. Yeah.
Right. I didn't damage my face. I protected my face.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So tell me what you used to believe about snakes.
Oh my gosh. It was a couple of years ago. And I have to say that, I'm a graphic designer by school and everything. So I'm very good at photo manipulation and, photoshopping things.
Okay.
But I'm also extremely gullible. Extremely gullible. So a couple of years ago, there was this picture going around on Facebook of this snake breastfeeding baby snakes. So there was like snakes like going straight out from the snake looking like they were breastfeeding.
Yes.
It never dawned on me that that could be a fake.
Why in the world would somebody do that?
Because I'm like terrified of snakes. If I see a snake on TV, I will have nightmares that night. If I see a
Oh.
snake in real life, I will have nightmares that night. I have this thing with snakes. I'm scared to death of them. So I've never given it much thought of whether they breastfeed or not. So I was like, oh my God, of course they breastfeed. I mean, every animal breastfeeds. Why wouldn't a snake breastfeed? And then I'm like, well, wait. After I told everybody that snakes breastfeed, I got to thinking about it and I'm like, but snakes lay eggs. So they probably don't breastfeed because they lay eggs so they wouldn't like make milk or anything. And I was like thinking this through. It's like, oh, I'm so gullible. I'm so stupid, and yeah. So I will own up to that one. I will own up to the fact that I thought that snakes could breastfeed. With that, I did learn that some snakes are born live and not eggs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Huh, interesting.
Rattlesnakes are born live.
Wow. And then how are they nourished? Who knows?
Maybe they are breastfed. Have you ever watched?
We don't know. Maybe they hide when they do it.
Maybe they do. Maybe you guys just don't watch.
Maybe every time they're examined, they suck in their nipples so no one knows.
Right. I mean, they could totally do it.
That'd be a handy skill, wouldn't it?
So yes, I'm very gullible, and when people realize that about me, they can convince me of a lot of things.
Oh, I'm gullible too. I am so with you on that. My brother-in-law sent a picture around several years ago of a breast and a lotus flower superimposed on each other. So it looked like this breast had these like seed pods in it. And I was like, and I'm a physician for God's sake. And I was like, what is this? What condition is this? This is awful. And he's like, have you ever heard of Photoshop? And I'm like, yep, I sure have.
Yeah, I'm a master in it, but snakes can still breastfeed.
Well, I am so sorry that you hurt yourself and your pride, but I'm so happy that you decided to share it with the world.
Yeah, I am too. Like I said, I didn't expect anybody to watch it other than my family, and it's gotten over 26 million views. So
amazing. It's so great. It's still spreading joy out there somewhere.
Yeah, it is. There's still plenty of people that haven't seen it. So if you share the video, hopefully more will see it and have a good laugh.
Yep, I sure will. I'll link to it in the show notes. Yes, you guys have to watch it because the audio is great, but the video with it, priceless.
Oh,
yeah. Before we go, tell my listeners all the places where they can find you online.
Well, I started my own show on YouTube. Well, we do YouTube Live and Facebook Live. It's every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then what it is a show where I talk with other real estate agents about crazy things that have happened to them, funny things. Like this week, I talked to a woman who the septic had sprayed all over her at an inspection.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just all in fun. It's all in fun, just sharing because, people don't realize how funny this stuff is and how much people want to hear it,
And you never know what you're getting into as a real estate agent. You have to be kind of like an explorer, it's like you just have to be prepared for everything. You never know what's going to happen out there.
Yes, and you have to be quick on your feet because you have to be able to talk through it. You have to be able to move past it and keep the showing going.
Yes.
Or the sale going. So you have to kind of roll with it. Mm-hmm. So I guess I can roll with it. I'm really good at rolling.
You think on your feet like nobody.
I'm not on my feet.
Well, yeah, you can think even when you're not on your feet, and that's just as important. I'm
on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I'm more active though on Facebook than anywhere else.
Okay.
And you can usually find all of my content on Facebook at Sam Staskal Sells Facebook page.
And for those of you who don't like to look at the show notes, I'll spell it for you. It's SAMSTASKAL Sells, SELLS. Oh my gosh, Sam, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for being with me today.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, you guys, wasn't Sam adorable? You have to go follow her YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening to the Fancy Free Podcast. Make sure to check out the show notes for today's episode at fancyfreepodcast.com/episode 101. Can you believe we're above 100? It's so crazy. Next week on the show, we have Shawn McKee, who is a fellow physician, and she is a lot of fun. You guys are going to love her. Remember to follow the show wherever you're listening so that new episodes pop into your feed. I have the most exciting special episode to pop in. Leanne Morgan, who is a hilarious Southern kind of mom comedian, and I had an amazing conversation. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to pop it in the feed, but it'll be soon, and you guys are going to love it. Remember, if you have a story to tell, email me at notfancy@fancyfreepodcast.com. And if you want more connection, laughter, and sharing, join the Fancy Free Facebook group. The question of the week this week is, when is the last time you fell down in front of someone? I would love it if you would take a minute as a 101st episode birthday present and leave Fancy Free a written review. Have a wonderful week, and remember, no one is as fancy as they look.